The recording has started.
All right, we like to say shalom. All praises to the Most High. Shabbat shalom. We'll go ahead and get started. Could you guys hear the music? Could you guys hear the music that I was playing? Anybody?
No, I could hear it.
Nobody couldn't hear the music? Wow, that's crazy. But y'all can hear me though, right?
Yeah.
All right, that's I gotta look more into that. That's all right. All right, tonight's lesson is going to be called charity. So since we did precepts on Wednesday about tithes, now we'll do a lesson today on charity. Okay, and it's just all about having a pure and a kind heart. You know, a lot of people, you think you might have one, but if you're doing things in the way that you like to do things and not in the way that Ahaya wants you to, then that's most likely might not be the charity that he's actually looking for. Okay, I'll open it up for, if anybody have any news they would like to share. I'll open it up briefly for a moment, but if not, I would rather just go ahead and jump into precepts. I know we have a few people running late, so if nobody really had too much news, I wouldn't care too much at all. But if someone would like to share some news right now at this time, this is the time to do so. Anybody?
Hey, shalom, everybody. I just seen Google had put $10 billion up for space research, so it's getting pretty close to time.
So Google put in how much now?
10 billion.
10 billion. For
yeah, they build a network in outer space, which we know that's just more of that CC, you know, putting that grid, making that grid stronger so they can go and bring that chip in.
Well, yeah, that's outside of the chip and then everything else, their defenses. These people truly believe that they can come back with Ahaya and Yeshaya when they come back. It's going to be serious. So, you know, that's why spiritually, you guys, we just got to get ourselves together. We have to get ourselves together as a group. That's why you guys continue to see me do the same, not the same lessons, but just the information that's coming, the precepts go together. Because you guys, we are in a battle, and if you don't realize that you are in a spiritual battle, you're going to lose. And what I mean by that is that if you don't realize that walking in the flesh in your everyday life, that you're in the ways of Satan, if you don't realize that, then you're going to walk right to the pit with Satan. But if you wake up and start fighting this battle spiritually and start realizing that a lot of things that you do is according to the ways of the world, then you'll start saving your spirit by changing and guiding yourself down the right path for salvation. And I truly believe that a lot of people don't understand how that process works, and that's why we're going to have so many people that's going to be doomed, because they truly believe what they do and what they're already doing is right. And that's what the world is kind of teaching a lot of people right now too. The world teaches so many people now that as long as you believe in your heart and follow your ways, then you should be all right. And that's not what the precepts say. The precepts don't say nothing to that nature. The precepts say you have to follow this Bible and follow Ahaya no matter what. Okay, no matter how much knowledge you get in the word, or no matter how much smartness you get in the word, you still have to follow the Bible. And see, on a lot of people, that's what we're going to go over tonight. See, a lot of people, they get into the word and they get very knowledgeable. They get a lot of wits And then next you know, they feel like they don't have to follow the Bible 100% because now they have so much knowledge and information. So now I'm the man now. And that's kind of what we're going to go in tonight on the lesson called Charity, on how you're supposed to be when you're in this world. Okay? And how the Most High will guide you. Thank you for that information, Brother KG. Anybody else? No? Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. We have about 14 people in attendance, so I'm pretty sure more people will get logged on as we go. Okay? So like I said in the beginning, Shabbat Shalom. All praises to the Most High, and let's get going. Tonight we'll start off in Isaiah 34:16. And also we'll go into information on the board after the lesson. You know, on Wednesday we came up with a board, and if anybody that wasn't on Wednesday lesson wants to be a part of the board, we're putting together a board for the fleeing mission. You guys, you got to understand, we don't know when it's going to be time to leave out of America. It could be at the end of this year, it could be next year, it could be in 3 years. But at least as a group, we want to start getting prepared, like getting boxes of food and different things like that put together, you know, that can feed a group of people, tents, sleeping bags. Let's start coming together as a community. That way, when something does happen, we'll be prepared. We're all saying, okay, well, there go the big boom, or he just announced that the chip is coming, or now we'll all know how to combat the spirit that the government is bringing in. Actually, let's start off in Ephesians 6:12 first, so people can realize that it's a spiritual battle, whether you realize it or not. Whether you say, "Hey, some people like to say, well, I don't want to play, or I'm not going to participate," so they think they out of it. But nah, you are in this battle, regardless if you have chose to be in it or not. Okay. And that's why I'm doing the precepts and showing that let's be ready. Let's know who the enemy is. Let's know who we have to fight. Go ahead.
We're in the book of Ephesians. We're in chapter 6, verse 12. And it reads, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high place."
So the battle is against the rulers of this world, the government. All right? Against the powers, against the rulers of the high places in this world, which is your government. The governments hold the high seats. So that's who the battle was against. So when and like I've been saying over the last couple of weeks, you right now have a chance to change on your own. You right now have a chance to start repenting. And you can make that change yourself. We all need to make some changes for salvation. But you can do it right now. It's in your control. But the way this world is rolling, the government is going to take it out of your hands and put it in their control. And what I mean by that is once they come with that chip, the mark of the beast, the Bible says once you get this, you no longer can be saved. So what are you going to do? This is the question of the night, and you take this question back to your family tomorrow. You wake up in the morning and you use this question. What would you do if next Tuesday the government comes out and say we need everybody to come down here to the clinic and get this chip, and everybody must do it, and no man can buy or sell? What are you going to do? That's the question of the night. What would you do if next week the government says now time to get the chip? What would you do? Are you prepared? Listen, let's not wait until the last minute to decide, hey, when you see it happening, let's start running and try. That's why I say as a group we get prepared spiritually and physically on how to combat the government on this. Okay? Isaiah 34:16. So tonight we'll go into some precepts on what we need to do once we get into this word, and once you do start growing, how are you to act? What type of person are you to become? All right, go ahead.
We're in the book of Isaiah, chapter 34, verse 16. And it reads, seek ye out of the book of the Most High, and read. No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them.
So it says, seek ye out of the book of the Most High and read. So you seek him out of this book and you read, and none of these shall fail you. So it says once you do this, it won't fail you. Okay? And none shall want her mate. So once you seek him, you're not going to want anything else. And it's kind of almost the same thing in the flesh. And in the flesh, you know, a lot of people are so attached to the flesh to where it's all about them. They want it to be about them. It's about me and it's about me. But what a lot of people don't understand, in relationships, at work, or whatever you do, the Most High is first. Okay? The Most High is all of our mates. He's the male's mates. He's the female's mates. So we seek him first. You don't wake up and seek your wife first. You don't attend to your wife first. You attend to the Most High first. Then the Spirit will come and give you the wits on how you run your day for you and your wife and your family. But every day we wake up and every night before we go to sleep, we seek him. Okay? Joshua 1:8. And it says, in his spirit it had gathered them. So once you seek the Most High on an everyday basis and you do it correctly, his spirit, he will send the Spirit to gather you. Because a lot of people are lost. A lot of people say, well, I'm lost. I don't know what to do when I read the Bible. I don't know how to. Well, if you seek the Most High enough, he'll send the Spirit, and that spirit which is Ruach, will gather you and bring you into a narrow place. Right now, before you find the Most High, you in a real wide road. So you got too much going on. That's what anybody. If you got a lot of stuff going on, it'll be hard to find the Most High. That's why you got to start getting rid of certain things in your life and narrowing it down to a narrow path. Now you can concentrate and focus more on the Most High. But if you got 100 things going on, guess where the Most High is going to be at on that list? He ain't going to be in the top 5 if you got 100 things going on. But if you only got 10 things going on, now it's a little easier for you to help get a higher into the proper placement on where he should be at. Okay? But a lot of people don't understand that and they just don't care about it. Alright, go ahead.
We're in the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 8. And it reads, this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night.
So it says, this book is talking about the Bible. This book shall not depart out of thy mouth, but you should meditate day and night. Okay, so day and night, you need to meditate in this book. All right, but a lot of people think, well, you know, it's Tuesday, so I'm going to read a few scriptures and then put their Bible down, and then they look up, and it's not this Friday, but next Friday. So a week and a half later, they think I'm good. Oh, I'm going to pick up the book and read a couple of more scriptures. So every week and a half, 2 weeks, people think picking up the scriptures is doing something for them. No, he says you need to meditate day and night in on this book. Okay? Read the rest.
We're in the middle of verse 8. It says that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success.
So good success comes from diligently meditating day in and day in and night in this Bible. And it says, observe to do according to all that is written therein. So you have to follow the whole Bible. You can't follow bits and pieces. You can't be one of the people that say, well, I like this part of the Bible and I'm gonna do it. But that other part that I read, you know, I ain't too cool with that. That don't sit too well with me, so I'm not gonna do that. Can't be one of those people. If you want salvation, if you want to make it to the tree of life, you have to abide by the whole Bible. You have to do it all. You can't do part. Okay. Let's go to Revelations 22 and 18, and then we'll come back to it. Revelations 22 and 18. So he says you have to observe the book according to everything that is written, and once you do that, thou shalt make thy way prosperous. So he'll make your way prosperous if you follow the Bible 100% correct. Like I said, you can't follow the Bible 80% and then expect to be prosperous. No, you follow the Bible according to what is written therein, and you'll have good success. Don't add to it. Don't take from it. Go ahead.
We're in the book of Revelation, chapter 22, verse 18. And it reads, For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, the Most High shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, the Most High shall take away his part out of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and from the things which are written in this book.
So you can't be one of those people that say, well, you know, I study the Bible, but I only follow certain parts of it. Because if you're doing that, now you're taking away from the book. And he says, and if you do that, then you don't have no part in the book of life. And then you can't be one of those people that get hotty in the head. You study and you start reading all these other books and you think you become real smart. And then you start adding stuff to the prophecy of the Bible. And you go talk to people, because people add stuff to it now. When you talk to people that kind of know something, they'll add some stuff to it to make it sound good. And now you add it and you be like, show me that in the Bible. You be like, oh yeah, I'll get back to it. People adding stuff and making it sound real good so people can listen to them. I don't got my Bible with me right now. Yeah, but that's in there though. I can show it to you. No, you can't add to it to make it sound good and sound better, because the Bible ain't for a lot of people's ears. It's clear-cut truth. So when you speak it, a lot of people don't want to hear it. But a lot of preachers, they'll add smooth things to the Bible so people can keep coming, paying their offerings and their tithes. So they don't do that, okay? But also don't be that person that takes away from it. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 12 and 10. So don't be that person that takes away from it. Don't be that person that adds to it, okay? Ecclesiastes 12 and 10. Hold on, let me put that. Whoever just came on, just is that you, Ant? Is that you, brother?
Yeah, that's me, bro.
All right, hey, go ahead and put your phone on mute, brother.
Okay.
All right, that's my brother from Chicago. Glad to have you on, brother. All right, Ecclesiastes 12 and 10.
We're in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 10. And it reads, The preacher sought to find out acceptable words, and that which was written was upright, even words of truth. The words of the wise are as goads, and as nails fastened by the masters of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd. And further, by these, my son, be admonished. Of making many books there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh.
So verse 10 starts off saying, he sought to find out acceptable words, and that which was written was upright, even words of truth. So the words of truth which is in this Bible is upright, is good. And then verse 12 says, be admonished of making of many books. There is no end. So there's going to be no end to the making of all these books. You're going to go into libraries. These philosophers, they're going to keep coming up with different types of Bibles, different types of books to keep you reading. when you don't need to do that. All you need is the Bible. You don't need all these other books. It says when you start reading all these other books, it makes it weariness to the flesh. So now your flesh becomes weary. Now your flesh don't understand what the truth is, because you got 100 books that you read and that's telling you this, and telling you this. So now you don't know what to believe. So now it's weariness to the flesh. But if you stick to the Bible and you read it, now your weariness, you don't have that. Now your flesh, your spirit is guided in the right direction. Now you're living in the spirit because you're following the one book that's the #1 seller of all time. Do I got to tell you? You just got to look it up. The Bible is the #1 seller. So if it's the #1 seller, that means something's right with it. But if you're reading all these other books, it's weariness to your flesh. But if you're reading the Bible, it's productive for the spirit. You see how that works? Okay? So if the Bible don't tell you about it, you shouldn't be reading it. And all the extra books that I read, the Bible refers me to them. If the Bible doesn't refer me to the book of Jasher, I'm not going to read it, but it refers me to the book of Jasher. Okay? The Apocrypha. It talks about the hidden secret. Okay? Luke 4:16. So we're talking about the very first precept we started off with tonight is Isaiah 34:16, and it says, "Seek ye out of the book of the Most High and read, and none of these shall fail." Okay, so as long as you stick to these precepts, these scriptures, it won't fail you. And then in Joshua 1:8 it says, as long as you walk in the ways of these precepts, he'll make you prosperous. You shall have good success. So a lot of people say, well, I want success. Listen, don't run to the Most High just because you're looking for success. Okay, that's not how it works. You come to him when things are bad. You come to him when things are bad and when things are good. Okay, that's the time you run to him, and is when things are doing good. When you're doing really great and you're at your best, that's when you run to him and say thank you. Don't wait until you're doing really bad and now let me get on my high horse and let me go find a higher. It don't work like that. Okay, Luke 4:16.
We in the book of Luke, chapter 4, verse 16. And it reads, "And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day, and stood up forward to read. And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah. And when he had opened the book, he found a place where it was written, The Spirit of the Most High is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the broken heart, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of sight to the blind, and to set at liberty them that are bruised."
So the Son, which is the Messiah, which is Christ, he says, when the Spirit of the Most High sent him to preach the gospel upon the poor. Okay, he sent him to the broken-hearted people and told him to go preach deliverance to the captives. Who are captives? You and I are captives. Okay, we are still in slavery. It's just a mental captivity. I mean, we was once in a physical captivity, which is slavery, but see, that's the problem. A lot of people have such lack of knowledge to where they truly believe that slavery is done with. You can go ask 8 out of 10 people tomorrow, and they'll tell you, "Oh, slavery is done with. We don't have to worry about that no more." What do you mean? Just because you don't see the shackles and the yoke on the neck and people hanging from the trees, you mean to tell me it's done away with? You mean to tell me that master took off the cape and just walked away? Nah. Master put on the suit and grabbed the pen and the paper and said, "I'll write checks now." So we're still in slavery mentally. You just got to understand the capacity of it. Okay? But if you stick to the Bible, you preach to the poor. All right? Why? Because rich people, they haughty. They are God. The rich people, they are God. They don't need nobody. Ask Oprah. All right? She got her success on her own. Her success didn't come from a higher power. Okay? So that's why I said stay away from these extra books. It'll take you out of your path. Stick with what the Bible tells you. The Bible says preach the gospel to the poor. Isaiah 8:20. So when you do these things, tonight's lesson is we're just basically breaking down charity. All right. And this charity is for everybody. This charity is for people that don't preach or teach. And then this charity is also for people that decides to teach. If you say, wait, I want to be a teacher for the Most High, you have to be a certain way. You have to be the most meekest person in the room if you say you want to teach. You can't be quick to fight or argue. You got to be humble individual. Because there's going to be some fiery darts. When you go to teach and talk, people are going to come back at you. And when they come back at you, you got to stay calm and patient. 8:20.
We're in the book of Isaiah, chapter 8, verse 20. And it reads, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them.
So if you have someone that's speaking according gospel or something, they say, well, I'm a preacher. But when they speak, it's not coming from this word, which is the Bible, then there is no light in them. Anytime somebody gets among you and talk to you and they say they're a minister of the Most High, 90% of the things that are coming out of their mouths need to be coming from the scriptures. Not the other way around. Well, hey, I'm a minister. Open your Bibles and then read 3 scriptures. Close the Bible. And then the next hour and a half, I'm going to talk about me. So, let me tell you something. It's too many testimonies and stories within the King James Bible that somebody can talk about versus standing up and talk about their own testimony. And that's what you have nowadays. You have a bunch of preachers, all of them. That's their sermon. They preach about what brought them out of the rut and what got them to where they are right now. What about Christ? What about the Messiah? What about his rut? It's enough in the Bible that we can talk about for years than you talking about your coming out of a rut in 2 hours. What about the journey Moses had? What about the struggle David had? All right, there's just too many testimonies in the Bible that we can talk about. What about the 12 tribes of Israel? They lost, right? And the Bible says, if anybody that ministers unto me, that's all they should be talking about. That's enough to talk about in itself. Let me show you. Let's go to Isaiah 49:5. I didn't have this in. I just want to show this real quick. Because so many people have it confused on what preaching is or what teaching is. And he specifically tells you what he wants his teachers, what his preachers to do. It's clear as day. So if you're around a preacher that doesn't do what we're about to read right now, then you're around the wrong individual. And guess what? He's leading you to the pit. Why is he leading you to the pit? Because he's not teaching you how to save your soul. He's teaching you about him saving his soul. How about that? Well, this is what I do to get on the right path. But he ain't teaching what you need to do to get on the right path. Because why? Every Sunday you go to church, you're living his life and his path and his testimony. Isaiah 49:5.
We're in the book of Isaiah, chapter 49, verse 5. And it reads, and saith the Most High that formed me from the womb, to be his servant, to bring Jacob again to him. Though Israel be not gathered, yet shall I be glorious in the eyes of the Most High, and my power shall be my strength.
So Isaiah says, and the Most High formed me from the womb to be his servant, to be his minister, to bring Jacob again to him. Who is Jacob? The 12 tribes of Israel. Don't nobody today in this day and age know who Jacob is. When you go ask somebody who are the 12 tribes of Israel, don't nobody know. Because these preachers nowadays tell you that they've been done away with. But right here he says, he told me as his servant to bring Jacob again to him. So that's what these preachers should be teaching. They should be out there teaching people who Israel is, who the true people of Israel is, the 12 tribes, and how we need to bring them back together. Verse 6.
Verse 6. And he said, it is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob and to restore the preserve of Israel.
This is a duty. This is a light thing. And he says, it is a light thing. This is what you should be doing. If you're my servant, you should be raising up the tribes of Jacob and restoring the preserve of Israel, getting them back to how they was in the beginning. Read the rest.
We in the middle of verse 6. It says, I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth.
So salvation comes unto the 12 tribes of Israel. So go raise them up, restore them. Once you restore them, then I'll give you light to raise up the Gentiles. And then salvation will come into the earth. But first, if you're my servant, my minister, you must speak unto the tribes of Jacob. Restore them. And we don't have nobody doing this, you guys. Nobody's doing this. You have a few now, but majority of the spectrum when you go into these churches, no one's doing this. So if no one's doing this, how does Jacob know who they are? He says, go wake up Jacob, and Jacob don't even know who he is. Why? Because the ministers are not doing this. And when you go to Revelations, it says the 12 tribes of Israel, their names are written in heaven. Shouldn't they want to? And listen, if I was part of the 12 tribes of Israel, but nobody never told me that, and my name was written in heaven, I'm like, man, I'm a little bug. I'm a little bug that nobody never warned me of this. Why nobody come tell me who I am? You'll never find the name African American or Mexican or Native American in the Bible. Why? Because they're all attached to the 12 tribes of Israel. Those are their names. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 8 and 2. So charity. 8 and 1. Let's start in 1. So let's break down the charity thing. So tonight's lesson is speaking on charity. All right. Go ahead.
We're in the book of 1 Corinthians. We're in chapter 8, verse 1.
Say it again. Somebody new just came on. Let them know where you at.
We're in the book of 1 Corinthians. We're in chapter 8, verse 1. And it reads, Now as touching things offered unto idols, we know that we all have knowledge. Knowledge puffeth up, but charity edifieth.
So know as touching things offered unto idols. So we know that this world, everything they do has been offered unto idols. All the way to their traditions, holidays, all this stuff is offered into some type of idol. We know that we all have knowledge. So we all have some type of knowledge. Knowledge puffed up. So once people start reading, once people start studying and searching, they get puffed up in their knowledge. But it says, but charity edify. Alright, so instead of getting puffed up in your knowledge, just because you know a little something now, don't go out there getting puffed up. That's not the way we do it. Alright? Just because I've been reading for a few years, now I'm supposed to go into a crowd of people and start talking bad about people because they don't know what I know? Now my knowledge is puffed up? No. Break down the word charity. But charity edify it.
We have charity. It is G26. Charity is G26. We have agape.
Agape.
Agape. A-G-A-P-E. Agape. A-G-A-P-E. And it is love.
So charity is love. Break down the word edify it.
We have edify it. It is G3618. Edify it is G3618. We have oikod emio. Oikod emio. O-I-K-O-D-O-M-E-O. Oikod emio. And it is to be a house builder. That is construct, confirm.
Confirm. So edify it is like you confirm something. So you confirm everything with love. You do everything with love. Okay? Everything that you do according to this word is love. Alright? Don't become that person that gets knowledge in the word and you get puffed up. No. You get knowledge in the word and you keep love in your heart. Now you go out and you teach. So instead of going to an area and you find a group of people who don't know what you know, and now you got all this knowledge and you're clowning them and you don't know that? Nah. Okay, well now if they don't know that and you have it, now you take the time and the love to show. Well, hey, sister, hey, brother, can I take time and show you something? I realize you have the lack of knowledge on this. Can I take some? Oh, you know what I'm saying? That's how we got to be. Verse 2.
We're in 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 2. And if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing, yet as he ought to know. But if any man love the Most High, the same is known of him.
So, just because you done read some books, don't mean you know nothing. Okay? And a lot of times people are reading all these books and still don't know what he should know. That's what that just said. You're reading the wrong books. So just because you're reading all those books, you still know nothing. And by you reading the wrong books, you're not even learning what you should be learning. But if a man love Ahia, the Most High, the same is known of him. So if you love Ahia, now Ahia will send what? What we say earlier? The Spirit to come gather you. And now that Spirit will start revealing the ways of Ahia. Okay? 1 Timothy 6:1. So listen. I can admit, I've been in this word now. Listen, I've been raised in church my whole life. Okay? But it's different now that I'm a grown man and I read the truth for myself. I seek the Most High for myself. So the last 6 years now that I've dug into the Bible and broke it down, okay, I still don't go around and be like, yeah, I've been in the truth for 6 years now and I know a lot. I know more than you. Listen, I would tell somebody quickly that I'm a baby. I still don't know much. And just because I've been in the truth 6 years still doesn't mean nothing. I still haven't even made it through the whole Bible. Listen, I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't even know if I made it through 70% of the Bible. And let me tell you one thing. I'm looking at the Bible every day, almost every minute of the day. So if anybody know me, this is all I do. No, maybe 17 hours out of the day, I'm glued to this Bible. And I still haven't made it through the whole Bible. So if you, like I always say, if you got a man that's talking about, I read the whole Bible and I understand it, no, you better skip away from that person so quick. Cause they ain't let me tell you something. If somebody's read the whole Bible, they don't understand it. Let's just get there. Oh, I read the whole Bible, man. All right, then you don't have no understanding then. Because it's taken me a long time to get through this. For real. I almost feel like I will never get to every precept sometimes. And that's just real. Okay, go ahead.
We're in the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 6, verse 1. And it reads, let as many servants as are under the yoke count their own masters, worthy of all honor, that the name of the Most High and his doctrine be not blasphemed. And they that have believing masters, let them not despise them, because they are brethren, but rather do them service, because they are faithful and beloved, partakers of the benefit. These things teach and exhort.
So it says, and if they have believing masters, let them not despise them, because they are brother. So it's just saying, so if you have somebody that's around you and he teaches, and you know this person believes, don't despise this person. If anything, become the brethren. This is your brother. Find a way to be around them so you can do a good service. All right? Faithful and beloved partakers of the benefit. So both of you can be the partakers of the benefit of this believing individual. Now everybody can believe. Everybody come into one. Okay? But there is no such thing as, I'm going to do this on my own. Okay? We all have to come together. We're brethren in this. We're all one body. All right? So let's not despise one another when it comes to this word. And that's what happens a lot. You know what I'm saying? People get big in the word. They learn a lot. And you start despising other people because of what they know. Or it's just weird. It's just a weird spirit. The way the evil spirit works on how people get when they get into the word. You know, like the guy I learned a lot of my information from, real intelligent individual, and the guy does no harm to nobody. he's a real humble individual, but you have so many people when he's on YouTube. You see so many people on YouTube trying to tear him down, and this brother has done nothing but brought a spirit in to where he can wake up, he can bridge the gap with the younger generation and the elders, because he's a little older than I am. And you have so many people that's on YouTube that's trying to find ways to tear this brother down. And it's just the saddest thing. Instead of people trying to find a way to say thank you, everybody's trying to tear him down. Finish that out.
We're in the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 6, verse 3. And it reads, "If any man teach otherwise, and consent not to hold some words, even the words of the Most High, our power, Christ, and to the doctrine which is according to godliness, he is proud, knowing nothing, but doting about questions and strifes of words, whereof cometh envy, strife, railings, evil surmising, perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds, and dispute of the truth, supposing that gain is godliness. From such withdraw thyself."
Okay. So it says, if any man teach otherwise. Okay. So if any man teach otherwise than coming together and not despising each other, and he is proud, knowing nothing. So the person that's talking about is people that comes into strife of words. So it says, but doting about questions and strifes of words, whereof cometh envy, strife, railings, and evil surmising. So when you come across someone and you're speaking the word, and a strifeful question might come up, something might come up that might be strifeful, you must keep a cool tongue. You must keep a humbleness about yourself to where it don't bring you into a conversation to where you have strifeful words and you have envy coming and you have envy surmissives. But verse 5 says perverse disputings. Give them the definition of perverse.
We have perverse. It is literally turn aside.
So perverse means turn aside. Give them the breakdown on perverse disputings.
We have perverse disputings. It is G3859. Perverse disputings, G3859. We have parody at ribe. Parody at ribe. And it is PARADIATRIBE. PARADIATRIBE. And it is misemployment. That is meddlesomeness.
Alright. So misemployment, perverse disputings is misemployment or meddlesomeness. Give them the definition of misemployment.
We have misemployment. It is ill employment, application to no purpose or to a bad purpose.
So misemployment is application to no purpose or to a bad purpose. All right, meddlesomeness.
Meddlesomeness, officious, interposition in the affairs of others.
Meddlesomeness is affairs with others. So when you're doing something with others. So when you break down perverse disputings, it's basically saying that we should not be having affairs with other people that has no concern to do with the Bible. Like, for example, we I know we found this thing. I know me and brother CJ was watching last week on this what is it called, debate. They got this debate going on now with a lot of different groups, and they putting people all in one room, and they got these debates, and you got the Muslims, you got the Christians, you got these people, and they all debating different topics, and that's not what the Most High told us to do. He didn't say for us all to come in one room and debate, and then at the same time they're charging people $35 to come watch the debate. That's all bad, you guys. This is not what we do. Now, if anything, if I wanted to come across a Muslim or a Catholic or somebody like that, and I know they don't believe in the same thing I believe, if anything, I would ask them, hey, is there any time, any way we can have some time and sit down, and you bring me what you believe and I can bring you what I believe, and we can just sit down and try to come to one truth? Can we do that? This is why the world will never come to one truth, because everybody is getting a high off of debates. They love it. Instead of saying, no, you know what, this is stupid, let's find a way to sit down and to come together to one agreement. But if I'm coming in and if I know I'm debating for the people, all I'm thinking all week long is I'm not gonna lose. I'm coming with some information to where I'm not gonna lose. So everybody in the room thinking they winning, when the only person that should be winning should be the Most High, because everybody should be coming in that room, putting everything together, trying to leave out of that room with one understanding. But that's not what that's not what happens when you have these debates. And that's kind of the same thing when you wake up to the truth, or you wake up and you're trying to go wake up family members and talk to them, and you try to go to them. You take it in your own way, and you say, all right, well, I'm gonna go talk to my cousin today, and I know it's time for him to hear it, so I'm going this way, and it's my way or the highway. No, the only way your cousin is ever going to listen to whatever you're trying to bring to him is if you have an open heart also. That person has to understand that you're listening to them also. But if you come in there talking about, hey, you got to hear this, and it's just this way and that's that person's going to shut you out so quick. But if you come into the room and say, hey, can I show you something, cuzzo? And by the way, how you feel about this? Let them be a part of it. Let them talk. Now you're getting somewhere. Now you can get to the bottom of something when both sides is kind of talking about the same topic and talking about where it's coming from. All right, verse 6.
We're in the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 6, verse 6. And it reads, but godliness with contentment is great gain.
All right, so contentment is satisfaction. Go ahead.
For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out.
So don't stop trying to gain all the materialistic stuff in this world. It said, but godliness is satisfaction. All you need is the Most High. All you need is the Most High in His Word, and that's your satisfaction. That's your great gain. But so many people come into this world in this flesh, and they try to gain so much in the flesh, and it's doing nothing to you. It's doing nothing for your soul. It's doing a lot to you and nothing for your soul. All right, you can't carry none of this stuff out of the world. All right, so why are you spending most of your time in this world trying to gain? If anything, you should be trying to work on the spirit, right? You should be trying to gain closeness to the Most High. Verse 8.
Verse 8. And having food and raiment, let us be there with content.
That's all you need. All you need is food and clothing. You don't need all this other stuff that the so-called white man has taught you need. Taught you need a big old house. Taught you need 2 cars. Taught you need fresh clothes. That's the American way, right? That's what they teach you. This is the American way. So everybody wants to be the American way. Nice house, 2 cars. No, the Most High said you don't need all that. All you need is food and clothing, and that should make you content. Verse 9.
Verse 9. But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the truth, from the faith, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows.
So just like I've been saying for the last couple of months, it says for love, the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some have coveted after, they have erred from the faith. So like I've been saying, so many people, that's everybody almost in here, until you realize this, so many people wake up every day and they hustle after that money. You've been taught to hustle after that money, and your spirit Your spirit, every day you wake up, I gotta go to work, I gotta make this check, I got bills to pay, I gotta do this. Your spirit is tied up. It's tied up into hustling money. So now every day your spirit is lost into hustling money, into grinding out, because you're coveting after that money to do this and to gain and to pay this. And the Most High says that's erring a lot of you guys, because now you don't have faith. You don't have faith at all, because now you feel like I gotta go to work in order to survive. That's how you've been taught. Everybody has been taught that you can't survive unless you go to work. And the Most High says, nah, that's not how it is. As long as you believe in me, all right, and be content with just food and raiment, I'll figure everything else out for you. Go ahead. Verse 11.
We're in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 11. But thou, O man of the Most High, flee these things, and follow after righteousness, godliness, faith, love, patience, meekness.
Says flee these things. If you're somebody that's coveting after money, if you're somebody that your soul is lost on a daily basis chasing money, like I told y'all last week, do it. Do a priority list. Listen, you don't got to tell me what's on your list. The Most High knows what's on your list. You can't lie to him, but write down a priority list. Write down a priority list and say, okay, on a daily basis, what do I do? And then you average that out on a weekly basis. And then you average the weekly basis out on a monthly basis. And you write down all your priorities. And then you say, okay, what do I do the most on a monthly basis? What do I do the most, the second most? And you, once you do that evaluation, you see where the Most High falls at on the list. I already know that he's not going to fall number 1 or 2 or 3 for a lot of people, because a lot of people spend most of their time at work. A lot of people spend most of their time doing other stuff, fun stuff, sports, just whatever, kids. And then once you're done doing all of that, at the end of the day, maybe 3 days later, then you say, you know what, I'm going to pick up the Bible and read a couple of scriptures. You telling me that's all the time you got for him? So he's far at the bottom of your priority list. So that's why he says right here, flee these things. Because if you flee all these wicked things, now the Most High will be at the top of the list. I'm going to be real with you guys. If you flee all that other stuff and you get rid of it out of your life, he's sitting right there. But if you got all these other things going on and you look up and it's been 3-4 days that you ain't even prayed, you ain't even did, you walking in the wrong direction. All right, I'm just the man that's coming here to show you that they tied you up in the flesh to follow after this money. I got to pay bills. I got to go to work. Now when you get off work, I'm tired. I have to fix the kids' food. I got to do this. So now you got every excuse in the book why you can't get the Most High 20 minutes. Galatians 6:1. And you have to understand that was the system of Satan. Satan runs the world. So that was his system. He set up a system to worry your flesh to where you will never be strong enough to support the Most High. Point blank. Go ahead.
We're in the book of Galatians.
But I can tell you this. If you want salvation, listen, can't no man show you the path to salvation. Only the Spirit of the Most High can come down here and guide you to the path of salvation. So if you don't have the wisdom on how to take the correct steps, and if you're not doing this stuff, you might want to evaluate your everyday movement. I'm going to tell you right now, you guys, he ain't going to have no pity on you just because you have to get up and go to work. He's not going to have no pity on you just because you have a family to take care of. No, you get yourself in order. That's why the first precept of the night, it says you seek him due diligence. Day in and day out, no matter what you have going on. I don't care if you're a flight attendant and you got to fly for 12 hours out of the day. When you get home, if that's what you decided to do for your job, he don't care. At the end of the day, when you get home, you find a way to still give him some time. That's just how it works. Don't leave him out. If you know you're going to get a job and this job is going to require so much time for you to where you can't get the most high of your time, then maybe you shouldn't take that job. Or you take the job and satisfy the flesh, pay your bills, and then when judgment day come, you're going to be wondering why he hid his face from you. It's just point blank, you guys. 6:1, Galatians.
We're in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 1. Brother, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual restore such in one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ.
So it says, bear ye one another's burdens. All right. So help each other out. Okay. Help a brother out. If you see somebody struggling, bear they. You got to feel their pain. We all go through some stuff. Okay. But don't fix it for them. But you can, if somebody come to you and say, hey, man, I'm kind of going through something, you can feel their pain and give them some advice. But don't tell him, all right, you know what? I know you're going through a lot, so chill out. I'm gonna do it for you. No, he got to go through that himself. But you can guide him through it. Verse 3.
Verse 3. For if a man think himself to be something, when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself.
Don't lie to yourself thinking you all that. Got so many people walking around thinking they all that, and the Bible says, look, you're deceiving yourself. You're nothing. You got to be meek. Verse 1 says, restore such and one in the spirit of meekness. You got to be meek and high, humble. You can't be coming with a boasty spirit, bragging about things. Who are you? You're nothing. You're lying to yourself if you bragging and telling everybody you're all that. He lying. Verse 4.
Verse 4. We're in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 4. It says, but let every man prove his own work, and then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone, and not in another.
Listen, I don't need to go boast to nobody and tell them what I'm doing for the Most High. I can rejoice in myself. I can rejoice every night by myself and say, man, I know I'm doing great for the Most High. I don't have to go out in the public and tell everybody, look what I'm doing for the Most High. Look, hey, come. Listen, people will see that on your shoulders when you walk in the door that you're doing something for the Most High. You don't got to go out and brag. That's why it says, let every man prove his own work. So prove it in the work that you do. Prove it in the work that you do. So when you do the good work and then when you walk, people will see it in your work that you're a man of the Most High. You don't got to go rejoicing and asking and boasting. Verse 5.
Verse 5. And it reads, for every man shall bear his own burden.
Every man shall bear his own burden. It started off saying, bear ye one another's burden. So, hey, if a man has a problem, hey, brother, I got you. I support you. But he got to go through this on his own. He has to prove himself to the Most High. Because everybody is going through something for a reason. If the Most High has you going through something, it's because now you need to sit down, narrow out your path. Your path is too wide. So now the Most High is trying to get your attention. So now if he's trying to get your attention, he's putting something on your plate. Now it's time for you to prove yourself to the Most High. So I can't help you out when it's time for you to prove yourself. So for every man, let him bear his own burden. Go ahead.
Verse 6. Let him that is taught in the word communicate unto him that teacheth in all good things.
So like I said, so when it says bear ye one another's burden, don't take over the burden. If anything, give him some advice. If anything, all right, let me communicate with you and teach you some good things on how to work through your burden. That makes sense? Verse 7.
Verse 7. Be not deceived, Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
Don't let no man deceive you. Don't let no man lie to you. All right? The Most High is not mocked. People laugh at his word. People, they make a mockery of his doctrine. Oh, well, that ain't going to happen. You know, in the flesh, you know, you can do anything you want. You know, I know it says you're going to reap what you sow, but, you know, just do what you want. Live life the way you want to. Nah, don't let no man deceive you. Don't let him mock this word. It says whatever you sow it, whatever you do in this world is what you're going to reap. So if you do good things, remember we went over it the other night. Reaping can go both ways, good or bad. All right? If you sow it good things, then you'll reap good things. But if you sow it bad things, then you'll reap bad things. All right, verse 8.
Verse 8. For he that soweth to his flesh shall all of the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting.
Now this is probably the most important precept of the night. And we're going through a lot of precepts. And this is probably the most important one of the night. Read it again.
Verse 8. For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption.
So whoever pays more attention to their flesh, the flesh shall reap corruption. So like I said, if you got that priority list and you mark it out, and majority, if 90% of that list is flesh, you're going to reap flesh corruption. But if you jot out that list and 80% of it is spiritual, because you're doing everything you can spiritually, now when judgment day come, you will reap everlasting life. That's what that means. But if you spend most of your time in the flesh worrying about the flesh, I know it's hard now. Come on now, listen. I'm not saying it's that easy. I'm not saying we could just pray, go to sleep and wake up and then everything spiritually. It's hard. I know it's hard because why? You live in the flesh. Everything you do is fleshly. Everybody around you is fleshly. The Spirit is faith. It's kind of hard to believe in something that's not there. So you know what? Hey, I'm going to just deal with what I can feel and see right now. I can't feel that faith, so I'm going to just deal with that later on. That's how a lot of people think. Or a lot of people think, well, you know, I'm young right now, so I don't got to worry about the Spirit. I'm going to live my 20s out. I'm going to live my 30s out, and then I'll take care of the kids when I'm in my 40s. And then by the time I get mid-50s, 60s, then I'll start worrying about my spirit. That's how a lot of people do it. I'm going to live my youth out, have fun, go clubbing. That's the flesh. And then when I get older, then I'll settle down and start going to church. That's what a lot of people do. It's like, what you wait though? But listen, you guys, there's no time to wait. Salvation is near. It's closer than a lot of people think. We don't have all this time that a lot. See, our ancestors, my mom, my grandmother, my aunts, they had time. But we're getting closer and closer to salvation. So my time is short. And then guess what for your kids? Their time is even shorter. You see how I'm going with that? So you got to get yourself together now, you guys. All right? Get out of the flesh. So whatever you sow in the flesh, so sow means produce. Whatever you produce in the flesh, whatever you produce in the flesh is what you're going to reap in the flesh. But if you start producing the Spirit and making the Spirit stronger than the flesh, now you have a chance to reap everlasting life. Read 9 and 10.
We're in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9. And it reads, and let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith.
So you do good to everybody, but especially to somebody you know that's righteous. You see somebody walking after the Most High, you really do good to them. But you do good to everybody. But verse 9 said, let us not be weary in well-doings. Hey, don't have a problem with doing something. All right? Don't have a tired mind to doing something well. When you do something well for somebody, don't let it exalt you. Don't let it, well, you know what, man, maybe I shouldn't have did that. No, be happy when you do something well for somebody. Don't let it bring you down and out. No. Why? Because for in due season, you're going to reap. If we faint not. So if you don't give up, you're going to get what you did. You're going to reap what you did. But so many people give up because it becomes hard. Especially when you have, it's hard to do charity. Charity is a giving heart. It's hard to keep charity. Because after a while, people feel like, well, man, I do good for people all the time and all they do is run over me. So then you give up on the giving heart. And now well, I'm going to change. I ain't going to be giving as much no more. This time around, I'm going to change. Nah, don't let what other people do and how other people accept and appreciate something change your giving. Keep charity no matter what. Okay? Romans 12 and 16. So we have to, no matter what, if you say, hey, I'm going to do this for the Most High, well, you do it for the Most High. And when you do it for the Most High, you do it with love. You do it with charity. Okay? You don't do it for the kindness of your heart. When you do something, you do it because you know the Most High is grateful of it. And when you know He's grateful of it, then that's all you need. Once you know the Most High is grateful for what you just did and He has a smile, that's all you need. You don't need that's your only payment you need. You don't need nobody to pay you nothing. You don't need nothing. Hey, I came all the way 2 hours to give you this information. I think you should. Nah, listen. As long as the Most High is smiling upon what you just did, that's your payment. Go ahead.
We're in the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 16. And it reads, be of the same mind one toward another. Mind not high things, but condescend to the men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceit.
All right, break down condescend. Definition.
We have condescend. It is to descend from the privileges of superior rank or dignity.
So condescend, the Webster Dictionary is to descend from privileges. So someone that has high privileges, descend from them. All right, come all the way from your high rank. Descend from privileges of superior rank. So bring yourself down. All right. So it says, read 16 again.
We in Romans 12 and 16. It says, be of the same mind one toward another.
Be in the same mind frame. Nobody's better than the next man. We all are the same. Go ahead.
Mind not high things.
Just because you're high and you got money. Go ahead.
But condescend to men of low estate.
We all gotta be poor in some sense. In some sense, we all gotta have the same mind frame, which is poor people, men of low estate. Don't get too haughty and think just because now you've been blessed with a little money, you're better than the next man. No, we're all have to be at one low estate, one mind towards the same mind, one towards another. Don't never think you're bigger than somebody else. Let me tell you this, that's a sin. So if you got this on your plate and you walk around and you at work, you're like, look at her. You kind of just looking down on people. Or somebody, you got a better car than somebody. And you leaving work and you see them always underneath the hood fixing something. You know what I'm saying? Hey, they poor. They something just wrong. They got it. That's the only way they can get their car started. You gonna clown every time you see this? All right. No, if anything, you get out every day and ask, you need help? They be like, nah, you asked me if I needed help yesterday. Hey, I'm gonna ask every day as long as I see that hood up. That's how we gotta be though. People always have to know that your hand is out and it's giving. It's not out just because, well, you know what, I'm gonna do this just because I know they need help. No, my hand is out because I want it to be out, and whenever you need it, it's there. Okay, and you don't be that person that put it out, then bring it back, then pull it out when somebody do something to you. Well, you know what, I'm gonna pull a hand away. No, you always keep the hand out. People should always know. You know what, I can go to Brother CJ. You know what, because that brother got good information. Every time I go to him, you know what, he just, he made me feel good, and I should never feel bad taking something to him because he always told me I can, and when I go to him, I feel good. You know what I'm saying? People should be like, nah, you know what, last time I went to him, he was kind of negative. You know, I'm gonna just keep it in. Nah. Bring yourself down, even if you know you are better than somebody, even if you know you're doing better. When you're around this person, bring it down a couple of notches. Proverbs 17 and 3. And that's the only way the Most High will accept you. That's the only way He's going to accept you into the kingdom, is if you bring yourself down to a low estate. The Son had to do it, right? The Messiah had to do it. He had to bring himself down to a low estate. The Messiah, Christ, could have came in and said, listen, I'm the king. I'm over everybody. Kiss my feet. Nah. He came down to the lowest of estates. He was lower than anybody when he was walking in the flesh. Go ahead.
We in the book of Proverbs, We're in chapter 17, verse 3. And it reads, "The fining pot is for silver, and the furnace for gold. But the Most High trieth the hearts. A wicked doer giveth heed to false lips, and a liar giveth ear to a naughty tongue. Whoso mocketh the poor reproacheth his maker, and he that is glad at calamities shall not be unpunished."
Okay, so it says the fining point is for silver and the furnace for gold, but the Most High tries the hearts. So he tries your heart, which is your spirit. Okay, don't get it twisted. When you see the word heart in the Bible, people think it's talking about that little heart on top of your chest beating back and forth. No, when it speaks of the heart from the Bible, it's talking about your spirit. So the Most High is going to try your spirit. He's not going to try the flesh. So that's why he says, whatever you reap it in the flesh is what you're going to get in the flesh. But if you start sowing in the spirit, then that's what you're going to reap in the spirit. So start paying attention to the spirit, because the Most High tries the spirit. He don't try the flesh. The flesh is nothing to him. He don't judge the flesh. He judges your spirit. But this flesh is what's going to take you to the pit. Okay? A wicked doer giveth heed to false lips. So wicked people follow false lies. Alright? Break down the word mock it.
We are mocking. It is Hebrews 39:32. Hebrews 39:32. And it is law.
Hold on. Yeah, you ain't getting that right. Let me pull it up for you so you can get that right. Sorry, you guys. We're learning Hebrew. And the brother ain't saying that word right, so I got to get to the word to make sure he's saying it right. All right, go ahead. You got it. You got what's that at the end of that? Go read it again.
We have Lag,
La'ag.
La'ag,
La'ag. La'ag.
La'ag,
Yeah.
yeah, La'ag.
La'ag. Okay, La'ag. All right, good job.
It is
So you spell it for him?
L-A-A-G, La'ag, L-A-A-G, La'ag. It is to derive, by implication, as if imitating a foreigner, laugh.
So mock it is laugh. So whosoever laugh at the poor reproaches his maker. So don't make fun of the poor. And you got to, I know growing up as a kid, people make fun of the poor all the time. You laugh at them, you mock them. Listen, don't do this. And it's real good with kids. Kids do that bad. So if you hear your kids when you're in the car mocking the poor or a bum or somebody, get on them. Give them reproof and tell them that is not what we're to be doing. Okay? So whoever is glad about somebody else's misfortune, that's a sin. If you see somebody else that's misfortune and they're not doing as good as you, don't mock them, don't laugh. Okay? Because remember, like I said before this, the Son, which is the Messiah, Christ, he was poor. You wouldn't have laughed at him. Let's go to 2 Corinthians 8:9. So like I was saying a few minutes ago, the Messiah, when he came as a low estate. He condescended. He descended from high privileges, which was a superior rank. The Messiah had superior rank, but when he came in the flesh, he condescended to low state. He gave up his rich kingdom to walk in the flesh, to be an example, to show you and I how to do it. Just imagine if he would have came as a king in the kingdom and walking all high and mighty, what example would that have gave us? how will we be walking in the flesh? The same way. Well, you know, I'm going to walk like he did. No, we got to walk like him. And how did he walk? How was he when he was in the flesh? Read it. 2 and 8.
2 Corinthians chapter 8 verse 9.
My fault. 8 and 9.
And it reads, for ye know the grace of our power Yeshua Christ, that though he was rich, yet for your sakes he became poor, that ye through his poverty might be rich.
Okay. So it says, through his poverty we became rich. Which is rich in the spirit, not rich in the flesh. We're talking about the spirit. So we became rich in the spirit through his poverty, through his poorness. But it says that, for ye know the grace. So for grace, so in order for us to receive grace, though he was rich, though. He was rich, that's what it says. Hey, he was rich. But yet for your sakes, he became poor. When he came in the flesh, he condescended to a poor man, that through his poverty, you can get the kingdom. So you got to understand the purpose of what's going on, you guys. We have to be the same way. All right, Colossians 3 and 13. Go ahead.
We're in the book of Colossians, chapter 3, verse 13. And it reads, forbearing one another and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye.
So if you have a problem with somebody, that's what quarrel means. So for forbearing one another and forgiving one another, if any man have a quarrel against any, you have to forgive. Why? Because the Messiah forgave us. You can't hold a grudge now. If you hold a grudge, you ain't going to make it. And the longer you hold a grudge, if you have a grudge towards somebody, and the longer you hold it, it's a sin. You have to forgive. If you want to be forgiven, you have to forgive. Verse 14.
Verse 14, and above all these things, put on charity, which is the bond of perfectness.
So we're trying to work on perfectness. All right. And our perfectness starts with charity. It starts with the love of the heart. Okay, verse 15.
Verse 15. And let the peace of the Most High rule in your hearts, to the which also ye are called in one body. And be ye thankful.
You better be thankful that you are even part of this body. Don't be trying to have a quarrel against the next man to tear the body down. Let peace rule in your heart and be thankful that you're even part of this body. Okay? 1 Corinthians 6 and 1. A lot of people don't understand that. Listen, you are a part of the body of the Messiah, which is Christ. Don't come into this thinking that you're the man. No, we are all part of this. So do your part. And don't get jealous because one office that's in this body is doing better than office. No, we all got to get our standards up to the next. Like I say, the body consists of a corporation. It's a company. And the corporation has many offices, which is you and I. The corporation is the Messiah, and the offices are you and I. All right? And if one office is doing better than the other, what are you supposed to do in the corporation? The one office, the one department goes and gives the other department some suggestions in the meeting. So when you have a company meeting, what does the departments do? If one department is really successful, what does that supervisor do? He gives out suggestions to the other supervisors and other departments on what he's doing, so the rest of them become successful. So that's how we're to do it. All right, if we're all in the body, and if you see the next man somewhat struggling or having a problem with something, then you go pick him up. You go say, hey brother, or hey sister, hey listen, let me give you some precepts, or hey, let me give you some advice. All right, hey, you need some quality time, or you need some fellowship, whatever. You never know how far fellowship goes. You just don't understand how far it would go. One brother or one sister might just need another sister to come sit down with her for a few hours, and next you know, she'll be like, you know what, I needed that. Okay? We can't do this on our own. We need the fellowship of the next person. All right? That's why it teaches us to love one another, because we need each other. We need each other more than you can think, especially when it comes to the spirit. All right? It's a little different on how you need somebody in the flesh when it becomes to needing somebody in the spirit. See, in the flesh, When you need somebody, it becomes a relationship. Like, you're kind of tired of doing something for somebody, or you like, you always, this relationship only going one way. I'm the one that's always doing it. I never get back. But in the flesh, you know, it's all for the Most High. So the spirit, we're all in this to help each other. It's a fight. All right, go ahead.
We're in the book of 1 Corinthians. We're in chapter 6, verse 1. And it reads, "Dare any of you, having a matter against another, go to law before the unjust, and not before the saints? Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if the world be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters?"
Why are we worrying about these little things? We got bigger fish to fry than these little bitty shrimps. Why are we worrying about these small matters? It says, "Dare any of you having a matter against another, go to law before the unjust, and not before the saints." So go to law means just go. You got a problem with somebody. You want to bring up something. All right, but you go to law before the unjust. So when you have a problem with somebody, you'll go to somebody that's unjust, that's not even in the word, and discuss this matter. So that's like me having a problem with Sister Brittany, and then I go talk to somebody that's not even in the word about it, and they ain't gonna give me no word. So if you have a problem with somebody, you would at least go take it before the saints. At least go take it before somebody that has something to do righteously, mental wise. But it says, listen, these are all small matters. Why? Because the saints shall judge the world. How are we going to judge the world? Verse 3, read it.
Verse 3. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 3, it says, "Know ye not that we shall judge angels? How much more things that pertain to this life?"
How much more do you need? You're going to be judging the angels. That's a big reward. How much more do you need than that? Jude 1 and 6. So what does it mean when it says you're going to be judging the angels? That's why it says, hey, in 1 Corinthians 6 and 2, it says, "Do ye know not that the saints shall judge the world?" All right. Don't worry about the small matters. You're going to be judging the world. So what does it mean when it says we're going to judge the world? Jude 1 and 6.
We're in the book of Jude, chapter 1, verse 6. And it reads, "And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day."
So the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he has reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. So the angels, who is he talking about? These planets. The planets that decided to come down and sleep with the daughters of men. All right, they left their first estate, which is the heavens. They left the heavens and came down here, left their own habitation. So the Most High says, hey, you guys, I got something for y'all. And it's called everlasting change under the darkness of the judgment day. And we're going to be the ones that's going to be judging them. How do we know that it was the planets that's he's speaking to right here in Jude 1 to 6? Read 13. Because a lot of people try to say, well, what planets are you talking about? Well, what angels you're talking about? The angels that he's speaking of in Jude 1 to 6 is talking about the planets that they have majority of this world worshiping through the Greek mythology. Go ahead.
We're in the book of Jude, chapter 1, verse 13. And it says, "Raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever."
So these are the same stars that he was talking about in verse 6. And he said, "And reserved is the blackness of darkness forever." Break down the word wandering.
Wandering? And it is G4107. Wandering is G4107. And we have Planetus. And it is planet.
Alright. So Planetus means planted. So he says, raging waves of the sea, foaming out of their own shame, planets, stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of the darkness of forever. So all these planets that they teach you in science and all this stuff, these are the planets that the Most High says you and I will judge in the last days. We're going to judge these guys for what they did. Okay? Skip down, read verse 14, Jude 1 and 14.
Jude chapter 1 verse 14, and it reads, and Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, behold, the Most High cometh with 10,000 of his saints, to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against him.
So it says we will do the judging with him. All right. Let's go back to 1 Corinthians 6 and 4.
We're in the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 4. If then ye have judgments of things pertaining to this life, set them to judge who are least esteemed in the church. I speak to your shame. Is it so that there is not a wise man among you? No, not one that shall be able to judge between his brethren. But brother goeth to law with brother, and that before the unbelievers. Now therefore there is utterly a fault among you, because ye go to law one with another. Why do ye not rather take wrong? Why do ye not rather suffer yourselves to be defrauded?
Defrauded means deprived. And it says, so basically it says this is a fault among you. Verse 7. Because y'all go against each other. And if you have a problem with someone, maybe it's you. Or maybe it's you that has the problem. So maybe you should leave it alone. Deprive or defraud, that's what it means. Deprive yourself from the situation. So a lot of times somebody have a problem with somebody at work or with a situation, and they'll harp on it and harp on it and harp on it. And the Most High says, hey, well, maybe that problem ain't that good big. Maybe it's you. And maybe you, why do you not rather suffer yourselves to be defrauded? That's what the question was. So why don't you suffer yourselves to be deprived of the situation? Just forget about it. Leave it alone. Deprived means like leave it alone. Let alone. But people can't suffer. Nah, this is bothering me. Instead of saying, you know what? I'm going to just let this one go. Yeah, I know I'm suffering from it, but I'm going to let it go. Nah, they can't let it go. Matthew 18 and 15, but we can't be like that towards people. And, you know, and I know, listen, I've done it many a times where I might have a problem with somebody and I just be like, you know what? I'm gonna just stay away. You know what I mean? And versus saying, hey, you know what? There's bigger fish to fry. Versus having this small problem, I got bigger fish to fry. Go ahead.
We're in the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 15. And it reads, moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two or more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican.
So verse 15 says, moreover, if our brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. And if he shall hear thee, thou hast gained a brother. Alright, but if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word may be established. So if somebody brings a problem to you, and whether you understand what the problem is or not, see, we're all never going to truly understand what the next person's problem is. But if somebody brings something to you, okay, hear them out. You know, I know we've been taught, if somebody brings something to you and you feel like you're right and they tripping, you kind of go off on them. But if somebody brings something to you, and if it's your brother or this is your sister and you love them enough, you have charity in your heart, you're going to hear them out no matter what it is, regardless. Even if you know they're wrong, or even if you think they're tripping, you're still going to hear them out and you're going to say, hey. But that's the thing, though. When you have charity in your heart, you won't think the next man is tripping. So that's why you will open up and hear him. But it says right here, moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, you go tell him between you and him alone. So if you have a problem with somebody, you go to him and you say, hey, I got this problem. All right, can we fix it? And if that other brother hears you, he'll say, hey, I hear you. Let's fix this. I'm not gonna just wipe you out and say, hey man, you tripping. I know I'm not doing that. No, they'll hear you say, hey, my fault, I'm sorry. I didn't know you felt like that. And then if the brother does that, then you gain the brother. Now you gain somebody that you know you can trust, because they can hear you out. That's what it's all about. All right, but if that brother, if you go to somebody and you got a problem and they don't hear you out, then it says, hey, then you go get two or three witnesses. And you bring them before the situation and you talk about the same problem. And then if that don't happen, if the brother still don't want to hear, you take it before the church. And then if it still doesn't happen before the church, then there's just nothing you can do for that individual. He's a heathen. He don't want to hear it. He's right. Everybody else is wrong. And that's not how we should be. No matter what. Like I say, even if you don't feel like you done nothing, you still hear out the situation. You say, hey, I'm sorry. And you know what? My fault, and I'll do whatever I can to prevent that from happening again, whether you think you done wrong or not. 1 Timothy 5:19. But this comes along with the charity. If you don't have charity in your heart, you can't do none of these things that we're talking about. You're going to have a wicked heart when somebody comes to you and say, hey, you know what? You offended me last week. And you're going to be like, what did I do? I didn't, you know what I'm saying? You automatically get offended because somebody just told you that you offended them. We have to learn how to accept what the next man is bringing to us, whether it's good or bad. Okay? Go ahead. 1 Timothy 5:19.
We're in the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 5, verse 19. And it reads, against an elder, receive not an accusation, but before 2 or 3 witnesses.
All right, so same thing. Against an elder, receive not an accusation, but before 2 or 3 witnesses. So like I said, if you have a problem with somebody, all right, you grab a couple people and say, hey, let's go talk about this. Don't ever hold a grudge in, because when you hold something in and you don't talk about it over a week, it don't take long. It don't take long before that seed becomes very negative and it grows. If you have a problem with somebody, the moment you sense it, you go get it out right now and say, hey sister, and you talk about it. But if it just sits there and it just sits there and it just sits there, then it's going to grow. Or if you have a problem with somebody, you turn to the Most High and say, hey, you know what? I'm tripping. This is me. I'm bugging out. Can you please take this away from me? And he'll wipe it right there. If you so seriously go to him and say, I'm tripping, he'll get rid of it. 1 Corinthians 1:10. So now that we know we all in one body, we're all a part of this body, and we're all trying to save our souls. We're all on one mission. We can't have no quarrel against each other. Never. Never. Because according to the precepts, we can't fellowship, we can't have communion unless everybody's on the same page. You're not even supposed to fellowship and have communion if there's animosity within the group. Okay? We can't let that hold us back. Never. Okay? So that's why we're planning these trips, camping trips for the summer and stuff. We want to start trying to get some stuff together for a fleeing mission, and we get way out into the wilderness for a 2-day camping trip. We can't have no animosity nowhere along the table. One brother can't have a problem. I can't have a problem with Brother Jay, and he don't even know about it. And then we get to the camping trip, something happens, and it comes out there in the camping trip. And Brother Jay be like, man, I didn't even know you felt like that. I'm like, man, yeah, I've been feeling like this for 5 months. Like, man, where'd that come from?
Oh, yeah.
1 Corinthians 1 and 10.
We're in the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 10. Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our power, Yeshua Christ, that ye all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you, but that ye be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment.
So that's why I said earlier, why are they having debates? Why do you have this group, Muslims, Catholics, Christians, all coming together debates? It says, now I beseech you, brother, by the name of of Yeshua, that ye speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you. So we all should be speaking the same language and speaking the same word. So how is it that these different groups are coming together and having debates and leaving still on different words? They're doing wrong, you guys. He said we're all under the same word, and there should be no divisions among us. All right, 1 Peter 4 and 8. We all have to be on the same team. Okay? Satan wants that separation. So that's why he started what? The religions. What does religion mean? Separatists. Okay? And what does separatists mean? Pharisees. Okay? Right there. It's all the same. 1 Peter 4 and 8.
We're in the book of 1 Peter.
We're going to kind of rush through these last few precepts so we can get through them.
Chapter 4, verse 8. And above all things have fervent charity among yourselves, for charity shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudge.
So it says charity covers all sins. Charity covers the multitude of sins. So most of your sins that you do, if you bring charity into the picture, it's going to take care of most of those sins. So if you bring charity in, 80% of your sins are taken care of just through charity. And hold no grudge towards one another. Have hospitality. 2 and 19. 1 Peter 2 and 19.
We're in the book of 1 Peter, chapter 2, verse 19. For this is thankworthy, if a man for conscience toward the Most High endure grief, suffering wrongfully.
So thankful is graciousness. Okay. Grief is sadness or heaviness, sorrow. And suffering is to experience pain. That's what this precept just says. Thankfulness is graciousness. Grief is heavy sorrow, and suffering is experiencing pain. So for the graciousness, if a man has the consciousness of right and wrong, who can endure heavy sorrow? All right, when suffering no justice. So when you're out here in the flesh and you're suffering heavy sorrow and you're going through a lot and people are treating you wrong, who can endure? Who can endure heavy sorrow? Who can make it through this? Okay? The man that is gracious. Alright? Anybody that is gracious, he can endure this type of stuff. Because there's going to be times where you're going to come amongst things and it's not going to be justice. It's going to be some wrong for doing. But who can endure this stuff? Alright? Who can overcome it? Who can have the conscience of right from wrong and know these people, they just didn't know no better. You know what I mean? Verse 20.
We're in 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 20, and it reads, For what glory is it when ye be buffeted for your faults? Ye shall take it patient. But if, when you do well and suffer for it, ye take it patient, this is acceptable with the Most High.
Alright, 1 Corinthians 13 and 1. So it says, for it is glory, alright, when ye be buffeted. Buffeted means like punched or slapped or something. When you be buffeted for your faults. Well, so when you're beat up for your faults, ye shall take it patiently. Take it patiently. If you get beat up for wrongdoings from the Most High, take it patiently. He gonna get you now. But if when ye do well and suffer for it, ye shall take it patiently also. Okay? So if you doing well and you still get slapped around, take it patiently also. Alright? Just because you're doing well doesn't mean you're not going to get mistreated. Alright? 1 Corinthians 13:1.
We in the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 13, verse